The conversation that takes place at the table is really important in Powered by the Apocalypse games. In this episode, we have a rescue/combat scene that could have gotten really out of hand, and in a more traditional game, probably would have taken over an hour to resolve. But fortunately, we lean into the conversation here before we begin rolling dice. We talk about our options, which moves we think might fire off, then we come up with a plan, get dice on the table in an order that makes sense. The scene is further complicated by the fact that it is interwoven with a social conflict scene focused on a character who was not participating in the rescue. Overall, this sequence could have been a real slog, but we talked it out, we got it done, and in the end we ended up with a fun, gruesome little sequence. Enjoy.
But this one, he doesn't care. He just takes every opportunity he can to just to torment you. He takes a little chunk out of your ear and then threads it on a gold chain and ties it to his little bandolier. And so now you have a little crescent-shaped carving out of your ear. Take injured. He's a black-furred weasel. So Bart's done a good job keeping you guys you're able to deduce his little code and clues in the tracks that you're dealing with 3 weasels, and you realize you're getting closer. And in fact, you'll even spot their camp, they've made a little tiny fire, right?
Okay.
So along the trail there, I think Fergus is going to, kind of follow along, but be close to Thrawn and say, "So what's the plan here?"
I bring everyone close as we're just far enough away to keep them in sight, but not so close that they'd hear us. We're going to circle them, and we're going to wait until they are asleep or drunk or whatever they're doing over there, because it sounds like they're having themselves a merry old time, and it doesn't seem like there's more than just the 3 of them. And then, if we can, just wait for my signal, and then try and take your weasel. But position yourself roughly behind one weasel apiece.
Should we try to free Bartholomew first? They might kill him.
If it looks like it's coming to that, I will attack, but wait for my signal.
Where's Bartholomew? Is he up against, I don't know, a shrub or something like that? Or
Sure, yeah. I think they have they've stored all their their traveling gear and stuff in a little spot near right next to the camp, not very far away. And they've just chucked Bartholomew there with all that stuff.
So, and the sadistic weasel is probably there fairly often?
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting your bearings. So give me that roll with wisdom, Thistle.
Okay. Wisdom, then that is an 8.
An 8. You found yourself in deeper trouble than when you started. I will tell you how.
You want me to tell you what I was thinking of doing?
It's just when you take a moment to get your bearings, roll with wisdom. Okay, that's good. You're kind of looking at the camp. That's great. On a hit, you get to ask me any 2 questions. But on 7 to 9, you found yourself in deeper trouble. I think the deeper trouble is that you are assessing the situation and you deduce that they still have a weasel out there. There's still one out in the woods. And you guys have just sent Kelsey off on her own with a white cloak.
You best not be wearing the white cloak.
Wait, I could ask 2 questions, you said?
Yeah, from the get your bearings.
What's the best way to free Bartholomew?
The best thing to do is truly going to be, Thrawn kind of has the right of it. Wait till they're a little woozy and a little tired, a little sleepy, and then just sneak in and grab him. A single weasel is a challenge for for a whole patrol. 3 weasels would be really, really tough to take. Now, while they're distracted and while they're a little woozy, sure, you can maybe go in and sneak attack them. But maybe just getting Barth out of there and then getting back would be the best move here.
Okay, and what's my greatest opportunity here?
That's a good question. So there's a tree that they're kind of camped up near, and there is sort of a little short small branch that kind of juts out and down just over where all the gear and where Barth is. You might be able to kind of go up.
So you're saying I could go up and down, so Thistle could climb up onto that and then sort of loop down, and that would bring him close to Barth. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could. Yeah, you can kind of go around and then up that tree and down, and never have to go into the weasel's camp.
If that got me over Barth, I could have Spot lower down and give Barth one of my daggers.
Oh, yeah, that'd be pretty good.
And then Barth could hopefully cut himself free depending on how he's tied.
Seems like a good move. Thrawn and Fergus, are you guys still committed to just trying to go in and cut the weasel's throats at the first chance?
That's my plan, and I was going to roll veteran tactician.
I've got one other trap I'd sort of like to want to put in place, if you're okay with that.
Sure, what do you have in mind?
So if I'm going to be a tree above Barth, and this is where the sadistic weasel comes, I'd like to use a rope of spider silk to make a noose that I can dangle down. Basically, it shouldn't be too visible, but something that I could dangle down and potentially trap the weasel when it comes.
I think that's pretty good, yeah. And I think that counts as using the spider for help. So whenever you do your move, you can do the stat stand-in for it. Veteran Tactician. When you lead your team into battle against a predator, roll with wisdom. This is predicated on the fact that you guys are going to fight the weasels. Like, it sounds like there's a bit of a disagreement there in terms of tactics.
I mean, Fergus, you're going to fight the weasels, right?
So this is a conversation we had beforehand, and we know what Thistle's plan is?
Yeah. Assuming you guys you're in a place where you can like freely talk about all this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, if Thistle can hold the one there, we can get the other two and then interrogate the last one before we execute him.
So my concern is weasels this close. We might not be able to handle them, but they might be able to overrun the city. So the question is it's your call, Thrawn. Should we protect the city and try and take out the weasels, or should we live another day to bring the rest of the guard in?
No, we need to take care of this troll of weasels and make sure that there's not an army out there.
I'm going to smash cut for a sec to Kelsey. Kelsey, you're on the skink. You got the skink and you're going back. You hear someone calling for help in like underneath like a bush. You hear a voice. It says, "Help me, help, please, help. I've been injured." What do you do?
I stop the skink and I say, "Who's there?"
It's clearly not a mouse, and it must be a weasel if they're talking because it doesn't sound like a mouse. She says, "My name is Lenora. I was attacked by some sort of animal, but I managed to escape. And please, just I beg of you, just please." You can see some blood, like they're like kind of leading to under the bush. Something happened along these lines.
"What are you doing out here in mouse territory?" I say, very like stiff and judgmental.
Do you get close enough to like where you can see them, or are you just talking from the bush still?
If I can like have the skink go like around a little bit, but I don't want to get any closer because I want to be able to have the skink zip away.
I mean, it appears that the weasel is not lying. The weasel could have easily like struck from the brush and attacked you if that's what they intended to do. There is a weasel underneath the bush that is injured, quite vulnerable, in fact. He says, "Look, mouse. Yes, we were here. We were here on a scouting mission. Oh, weasel business. We were doing what weasels get up to. Please, I just, if you help me, I'll convince my companions to leave. We'll leave this place. We'll never come back."
"I'm no physician. I'll see if I can get one and come back. Until then, you should stay quiet. I hear there's a fox about."
Ron, what are guard mice supposed to do when they encounter hostile creatures?
If you find, like, anytime you find a weasel, like, if it's within your power to kill it, they're like our sworn enemies. So you should definitely be doing that. But if it's like beyond your control, then you need to go and get help.
So says the voice of the guard.
Yes, I was supposed to go back anyway, and I'm not sure of my ability to take out a lone injured weasel. So she's definitely going to do the get help tactic.
Sounds good.
She's not going to come back with a physician. She's going to come back with a mob.
To kill the weasel. All right, sounds good.
I think we've got a pretty good shot at killing these weasels because they're pretty vulnerable. They're not expecting it. And we can pretty much just wait until they're asleep and cut their throats, or they're too intoxicated to fight properly.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's a thing you could do. I mean, you're the leader, so you make the call.
Yeah, that's my call.
All right. Roll plus wisdom for veteran tactician.
Yeah, I already did. We're holding 2.
So you get to hold 2. You can spend them to do different things. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Well, so just how does this begin?
Boss, I'm going to draw their attention to me. I'm old and injured, and I'm going to run in and make myself obvious. That way the two of you can attack. I suggest that we free Bartholomew from his bonds before we do all of this. That way it's 4 against 3.
Right. So to be clear, like we had the plan. The plan is that Thistle's in the tree.
Mm-hmm.
She lowers the dagger to Bart. Bart frees himself.
Yes.
The black weasel comes over and he gets the noose around him, and then we strike.
Okay.
So Thistle, give me a danger roll. Do something dangerous roll. You get a +1 forward for following up on your.
Ooh, no, that's not a success. That's a 5.
Ah, indeed.
Take +2.
Oh, you're gonna spend the last of the.
Spend the first of the hold.
Oh, you have that hold. Oh, from your veteran tactician move. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, he says you have to choose before rolling, though.
Oh, you have to choose before.
You have to choose whether or not to use it before you roll?
That's what it says. Give someone +2 to the roll, choose before rolling. It specifically says that.
And the warden pool.
You can spin the guard pool, though.
Yeah, take +2, definitely.
Fiction that and that you're kind of leading this whole shebang. So that's a good justification, I think. Thrawn, tell me how Thistle's about to fuck it up, but you kind of like divert, or you manage to bring it back on track.
I think that the noose is like going wide, and the branch isn't in quite the right spot, and it's like getting low enough that the black-furred weasel would see it. I don't do something, and I just take my spear and like nudge it, like quickly, like pull it across so that it loops around his neck.
So if he tries to make a move, he's gonna get throttled. All right, that's good. Otherwise, he's just a little drowsy. And Barth, they drop you a knife so you can cut yourself free. What do you do once you're free?
I guess I'll just wait and try to like follow their lead. So if I see them trying to leave, then I'll leave. But if they're preparing to attack, then I'll like try to reclaim my bow and help out as well.
Okay, nice. This threat is going to have like a total of 5 to eliminate the threat. We'll say 1 is reduced from noosing the weasel and freeing Barth, so you have 4 more to go. Fergus, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm going to wait for the signal.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the fight starts, I'm going to run in with a battle cry of, save the territories. It's a series of moves. So basically I have Old Dog New Tricks, which lets me do a battle cry, which gives me +1 forward.
Oh, got it. Okay, I see. Yeah. Well, so Thrawn, you give him the signal?
Yeah, the signal is me planting the blade into one of them and like kind of almost pole vaulting up so that I'm like on top, driving the blade as deep as it can be into the weasel and like shouting like mouse guard attack.
So Fergus, what's your battle cry?
Remember the Battle of Thistlebrook. Defend the territories. I don't want to interrupt anyone. Was Thrawn gonna roll for his attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. We can kind of fire all this stuff off at once. It's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, what's everyone else doing?
Yeah, so I'm doing Old Dog New Tricks, which is with focus.
Okay. And you're doing strike at an enemy, right, Thrawn?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you end up with, Fergus?
So I got a 9.
Okay.
Which I can use that move right now. So this is an old soldier move.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I charge headlong into battle, shouting out a cry, I clear tired or demoralized and take +1 forward.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And I think this is going to be a strike at the enemy eventually.
Okay, nice. Yeah, and we can kind of just roll right into that. Thrawn, did you do strike at an enemy?
And I'm gonna take +2 since I have to call that before.
Okay.
Gets me to 9, so useless.
All right. So on 7-9, choose 1.
Inflict terrible harm.
Nice. That's great. I think I'll let you kill a weasel straight up. You want to describe that?
Yeah. So as I've described, I come running in, like pole vaulting up. I managed to get it right in his chest. And as I like vault up and like I like manage to balance, like I wrap my tail around the haft, and as I'm like shouting in, I feel it slide down between his ribs.
Ew, nice. Was that the sadistic weasel or just some other weasel?
No, that's just some weasel. That was a sleeping weasel. He doesn't even have a chance to cry out before he's dead.
Barth, the battle is on. You have a dagger. What do you do?
Before they like get startled, or if they are, then I'll go up behind one of them and like kind of shank it in the back.
Nice. Roll strike at enemy. And you guys are down to you're down to 3 now.
Oh, finally 10.
Sweet. You get to choose 2.
Inflict terrible harm.
Oh, and I think I think I'm gonna bump the threat down to 2. So if you inflict terrible harm right here, this will solve.
You can have your revenge on the Blackford weasel because he's the closest one to you.
Yeah. I'll inflict terrible harm and I'll expose or create a weakness for somebody else.
Okay, nice. Let's just say that there's like, okay, so you kill one other weasel. I think we're down to like one weasel, let's just say. And
it's the sadistic one, right?
It's the sadistic one, right? Yeah. So the sadistic weasel is caught up in that noose, right? And you can see that, Barth is like, Barth, you're probably like pissed at that weasel, right? You're probably like, get some of your own, like, back, right, on him, because he's been kind of torturing you this whole time. Fergus, you can see that sadistic weasel is pretending to be like vulnerable, but you can see that he's got like his little paw is like reached back and he's like got like a curved blade, like kind of stuck into his little belt in the back, and no one else sees it yet. And Barth is nearby, and you can see that like, if Barth takes one step closer, that weasel's going to get it. What do you do?
The way that this looks is Fergus, jumps forward and takes his staff and, pulls it around the neck of the weasel to try and choke it.
Okay, nice. Give me strike an enemy. The fight with the weasels is essentially over. This is just like, are you going to be able to like prevent Barth from being backstabbed by the weasel?
Yeah.
Go ahead and take +2.
Okay.
Roll.
Okay.
From whenever I was coming in. So I think that's a 9 +2 +2.
You can take the 2. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got him. Just have control of the scene. Don't worry about spending your hold.
Okay. So what this looks like is, so I've still got one of my paws in a sling, and I jump up behind the weasel. The weasel's focused in on Barth, trying to get close enough to slit his throat with the knife, but its paw's kind of behind it as it's going for the knife. So I jump up behind and kind of pin its paw to its back so it can't get to it. And I pull the staff across its throat and loop it through my sling and start pulling and just come back down. And I hear this cracking noise as I hit the ground.
It's gruesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's a good move. Yeah, like the weasel couldn't like get away or anything, but I think the weasel was just going to try to take one more of you out, right, before he lost his own life.
Yes, you probably never hit the ground. You would just be dangling back as he's like held taut by the noose.
Nice. Barth, you see that little chunk of your ear, like on the weasel's bandolier. How does that make you feel?
I feel like that's like the turning point for his exuberance before, right? Like he was very like happy-go-lucky and stuff like that. And I think he's going to leave that part of him there with that piece of his ear.
Okay. So it's like a reminder. Whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like a reminder of what you left behind, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fergus actually sees the part of his ear and kind of Barth looking at it. He goes over and he cuts out a crescent part of the weasel's ear and hands it to Barth.
Let's make it even more grim. How does that make you feel?
I think that I just throw it in their fire. And I say, I don't need anything back from myself, and I certainly don't need to be reminded of this fearsome creature.
Fergus, after that interchange, kind of stares into the fire and watches everything burn.
It's getting dark.
Yeah, get a little dark.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get even more dark.
Oh, it gets even more dark. We have to collect their thumbs.
Oh, is that a thing that you have to do that Lockhaven requires?
Yeah, we need to. We can't just say we saw weasels. We need to prove we saw weasels and that we killed them.
Nice. Good. Well, and that also goes towards like future commendations, right? Like Gwendolyn loves weasel killing. So
if anybody's injured, I guess this might be a time for Thistle to actually help somebody with healing.
Yeah,
well, I'm injured for sure.
Fergus is still injured as well. So.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh yeah, with the shoulder, yeah.
When you tend someone's wounds or sickness, they treat a miss as a 7 or 9 result when recuperating from injured or sick.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So I guess I'm assisting their role basically.
Yeah, that's kind of how that goes. You guys are out in the middle of the forest at night. You guys probably need to get back to Elmos before you cope with that.
There's another weasel out there too, so maybe it's the moment where we're all like, Kelsey and
right, yeah, like, oh shit, Kelsey, yeah, there's another weasel, let's go, right? I'm gonna kind of speed up a little bit. As you guys are on your way back, you encounter that same injured weasel under the bush.
So Thistle might say, wait, Bart, wait, let's find out what injured it. This could be important.
Fergus, hears that, and he kind of puts his paw out in front of Thistle and kind of gestures to Bart to make up his mind, do what he wants.
The weasel calls out to you. She says, Mice, if you help me treat my wounds, I will take you to the lair of this creature that hurt me.
I think Bart steps up with like a placid face at first, and then he says, "All weasels do is lie," and then I like stab it in the heart.
And Kelsey, right about that time is when you come back. Each town has like a little garrison of, like city guard or whatever, right? Let's have that moment between Kelsey and Barth. Like Barth just finished killing this weasel.
I show up with, I want to say, 4 mice. Some of them just bundled up for warmth and like carrying torches. Other ones are armed with things like trowel, frying pan.
So you've got just like a very, very makeshift.
We see that the danger is gone.
The weasel's still like gasping its breaths, and I'm like lopping off its thumbs. And I'm like, Kelsey, my cloak.
I had it like fashioned around my waist like a belt, and I just untie it and hand it over.
Yeah, and with like a bloody paw, I grab that pristine white and wrap it around myself, leaving that paw print.
A smear of red.